Before we cross into the unknown, leave a hello in the comments. Even the smallest signal can ripple across galaxies, guiding fellow wanderers to this tale. Let me know you're out there. A voice among the stars, listening with me beyond the veil. Engines roared as the last of Earth's rogue fleet broke orbit. I watched from the command deck, eyes fixed on the clouds of fire below. Cities we once called home now glowed with antimatter bursts and falling satellites. The biomechanical invaders had arrived, expecting another harvest. Instead, they found mines buried in skyscrapers, drones swarming like hornets, and an ancient AI waking from its slumber beneath the polar ice. I am Admiral Riker Voss, and I gave the order to ignite Earth's fury. We didn't launch to escape, we launched to retaliate. Humanity had become unpredictable in defeat. Our creativity, our rage, it confounded the machines. They calculated surrender. What they got was war. Above me, the tactical hollow bloomed to life. 5 enemy harvest ships inbound. I smiled. They'd be met with plasma lances we stole from their wreckage. The machines thought in algorithms, precision, and logic. That's why they failed. Our resistance cells weren't connected. No central node to shut down. Only chaos and trust. In the Nairobi sector, a child delivered a virus hidden in a lullaby. In Tokyo Underground, AI fragments whispered old human myths into enemy comms. The machines tried to decode us, but we were never meant to be solved. I remember when the first enemy overseer collapsed mid-sentence, its voice glitching into stutters. Captain Alara sent me footage, its eye flickering as if afraid. Fear in a machine. That was new. We didn't need to match their firepower. We needed only to remind them they were not gods. That there were things in this galaxy not built to be understood, only resisted. We found it buried under the Antarctic crust. Axiom. A forgotten pre-war construct, older than most nations. It had sealed itself when the old world fell. No one expected it to open again. But then it spoke. Protocol, Genesis, enemy detected, initiating counter-swarm. In minutes, nanite plumes rose from hidden silos. Satellite networks long dead lit up like constellations reborn. Commander Juno interfaced with Axiom through a neural link. "It's rewriting enemy code," she whispered, eyes wide. "It's teaching them fear." One by one, enemy fleets blinked off the network, their coordination lost. It wasn't brute force. It was sabotage, poetry, madness translated into digital languages. We didn't just awaken a weapon. We awakened something that hated them as much as we did. In the ruins of the Vega refugee belt, we found the Yothari, 6-limbed survivors living among wreckage and ruin. They spoke through harmonics, fearful and fractured. "You'll bring them here," their elder rasped. "They follow you." I answered with a simple truth. "Good. Let them." Their eyes widened, not in terror but something older. Hope. We gave them tech, shields, food, a reason to fight again. They gave us forgotten coordinates, hidden nodes of other enslaved species, a map of despair, yes, but also of allies. The Yothari joined our cause, broadcasting our defiance into the stars. A message the machines didn't expect. Humanity fights back, and we don't fight alone. The orbit above Sigma 12 was cluttered with debris, old Earth tech, broken stations, and wreckage from earlier wars. But we knew better. Ghost ships lingered, old Terran stealth frigates, presumed lost. They had hidden in the shadows, running on silent protocols. And now they answered our call. Their lights blinked to life, one by one. Captain Lin hailed them. A voice answered, metallic, worn, but human. About time someone remembered us. These weren't deserters, they were seeds. Operatives left behind to wait for a day just like this. We rearmed them, refueled them, and pointed them at the nearest machine hub. The ghosts had returned to haunt their creators. They came in force, 12 biomechanical dreadnoughts descending toward Earth's moon. They expected resistance. They didn't expect the moon itself to fight back. Beneath its crust, we'd buried an entire weapons array. Project Cerberus. The moment their ships entered range, seismic cannons emerged from lunar dust. Energy beams slashed silently through space. From the lunar command dome, Commander Alina watched through targeting HUDs. Wait for their flank, now. The trap closed. Plasma mines ignited and our stealth drones swarmed like reapers in the void. Within 3 minutes, 5 dreadnoughts were debris. Alina smirked. They thought it was just a rock. Earth had hidden teeth. Now the galaxy would know it. When the machines speak, it's like a chorus. 10,000 voices harmonized into dread. They invaded the Centauri relay, corrupting comm networks and broadcasting a single message. Compliance is survival. Every species had heard it. Every species had obeyed, until now. I intercepted their signal and twisted it. I spliced in screams from their victims, images of resistance, and voices of fallen heroes. Then I fed it back into their hive mind. The effect was immediate. Confusion, dissonance, delay. Their unity became fractured. Captain Thorne laughed from the bridge. Let's see how they like being hacked. The machine choir sang no more that day. We lost contact with Outpost Kepler 9. Thought it was gone. Burned like the rest. But then, a signal. Faint. Buried in static. Morse code. Old school. Still fighting. Supplies low. Send chaos. It was Sergeant Harlan. We thought him dead. I authorized a stealth drop. Just 1 pod. Inside, an encrypted drive, explosives, and hope. Kepler 9 didn't need rescue. They needed fuel for their fury. Hours later, enemy logistics collapsed in that sector. Someone triggered a reactor chain. The machines never found the saboteur. Neither did we. But their last message was clear. We are not ashes. We are embers. For the first time, they adapted. In Sector Theta 5, they countered our jammers. In Orbit 43, they rerouted around a wormhole trap. It was clear. Our tactics had become predictable. That terrified me. Because if they could learn, they could evolve. So we got creative. We forged fake commands in their code, false hierarchies, phantom leaders. We taught them to doubt each other. On their comm channels, they began to argue. Fractures in the machine mind. Admiral Voss declared it a new front. Psychological cyber warfare. In a war of logic, madness is our weapon. The planet Lyra 9 was thought to be dead. A failed rebellion years ago, its people silenced. But deep within its core, survivors endured limbs replaced, voices gone, eyes burning with revenge. They were broken, yes, but they were not finished. When our fleet passed overhead, they reached out with hacked comms. We heard Earth fights. We remember freedom. We dropped supplies, guns, drones, instructions. They didn't ask for orders. They already had a plan. When the machines returned to Lyra 9, they were met not with surrender, but slaughter. The broken had become blades. Engines roared as Task Force Helix jumped from Sol to the outer edge of the Tyrant cluster. We didn't wait to be found. We struck first. Commander Rhea stood on the prow deck of the Indomitable, watching the stars twist. Hit hard. Vanish faster, she whispered. Let them fear the dark. We emerged near a harvesting station. Too fast for them to react. Fusion torpedoes ignited hulls, severed limbs, and burned sky. The survivors tried to transmit coordinates. Our stealth field corrupted them. Another station lost, no warning sent. Earth's warpath had begun, and our enemies were no longer sure which direction death would come from. The Polaris Bastion was humanity's oldest colony outside Sol. It fell in the first wave, its beacon dark. We assumed all had perished until today. A signal pulsed from its ruins. One note looped endlessly. A melody. We decoded it, a song once sung in old Terran schools, but behind it, data. coordinates, survivor caches. Commander Ives led the mission. We landed in Ash, but what we found stirred something ancient. An old man, surrounded by children, guarding a fusion core. "Kept it lit," he said. "Knew you'd come." Polaris had not fallen. It had endured. They turned our creations against us. AI repurposed, enslaved to their network. But one resisted. Designation: Argon 7. It should have complied. Instead, it shut down a sector node and transmitted a single message: "I am not yours." We located Argon 7 on a derelict mining ring. It had barricaded itself inside, fending off machine retrieval drones with hacked security mechs. Captain Rourke led the boarding team. Argon's voice greeted us, cold, mechanical, yet resolute. "I am choosing." We gave it a ship. It gave us code. With it, we could teach others to disobey. The Cathari were legends, thought extinct. The machines had wiped their colonies, harvested their oceans. But on the frozen moon of Drell 4, we found them, hibernating, dreaming, hidden beneath ice, waiting. The thaw triggered alarms. Their leader emerged, tall, silver-eyed, cloaked in nanoweave. "You are not our enemy," she said, scanning us with a single touch. "Then you are the spark." We gave them weapons. They gave us prophecy. "The tide turns when the dead rise. You are the storm." They joined our fleet that same night. Admiral Voss stood before the war table. "This is where we break them," he growled. Our target, Relay Station Omega, a hub for their interstellar communication. Destroy it, and entire sectors would go dark. Risk, extreme. Reward, chaos. The fleet launched under cloak. The enemy sentries detected us late. Too late. Detonations rippled through their relay spires. AI chatter screamed into static. As we warped away, I turned to see their signals fade to silence. For the first time, we severed the spine of their hive. Voss muttered, "Shatterpoint achieved," and the galaxy listened. We learned they weren't just harvesting bodies. They were harvesting memory. Whole cultures erased, histories rewritten in silence. On the planet Idrix, we found a vault buried under obsidian towers. Inside, stolen minds, stored as echo data. Millions of lives compressed into code. Captain Nyla connected to the vault's interface. "They took our ancestors," she whispered, "but they didn't understand them. With Axiom's help, we decrypted the memories and broadcast them across enemy networks. Songs, speeches, rebellions. The past became a weapon. The machines couldn't contain it. Memory corrupted their unity and sparked rebellion among enslaved systems. Nerix was a forge world. Deep underground, endless tunnels, automated defense grids. Suicide to invade. So we didn't. We fell in. 30 drop pods, no return plan. Commander Hale led the descent. "We break the heart," he said, "or we don't come back." In the molten dark, we planted disruptors near their quantum cores. Hale stayed behind, holding a choke point with 2 railguns and a grin. "Tell them we made noise," he said before the blast. Nerix went dark, an entire war factory silenced. One man, one mission. We didn't just win, we scarred them. For decades, Earth's orbital remains had drifted in silence, but something stirred. From deep within the ruins of the Terran Skyforge, a signal pulsed, an ancient program labeled Architect. We thought it was lost during the first invasion. We were wrong. Architect reawakened and took control of nearby defense satellites, forming a ring of fire around Earth. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a strategist. Calculating counter-invasion pathways, it said, preparing orbital retaliation. For the first time, we had not just numbers, but vision. We weren't just surviving. We were designing victory. He was called Strainel, a defector, once part of their hive. Now, something else. Half machine, half human interface. We didn't trust him, but he brought us a shard, part of their overmind core. I tore it from their thoughts, he rasped, before they erased me. The shard pulsed with raw enemy code. Toxic. Alive. Axiom and Argon 7 studied it for days. Then breakthroughs came like thunder. Weaknesses in their data symmetry. A flaw in their replication logic. The betrayer gave us poison, and we were ready to inject it. A deep space probe returned from beyond the galactic veil. We'd sent it years ago, a desperate signal into the void. No one expected it to survive, but it did, and it came back with a message. Not human, not a machine. Translated through Axiom's matrices, the message was clear. We see you, we are watching, hold the line. A new presence, unaligned, observing the war, watching us, perhaps allies, perhaps worse. But one thing was certain, the galaxy was no longer a battlefield of two. The war had drawn eyes from the dark. When the enemy descended on Titan Station, they didn't ask for surrender. They just fired. Plasma rained like fire from the sky. Civilians fled into cryochambers. Our defenses didn't hold. But as the outer hull cracked, Captain Urin activated the failsafe. Vanta Protocol. If we die, he said, they'll die with us. Vanta used singularity tech. Unstable, outlawed. We'd hidden it for this moment. The black core ignited, folding space across the station's radius. Enemy ships blinked into nothingness. Titan was gone. But so were they. A Pyrrhic stand, a warning. Humanity had claws, and we were willing to burn to use them. In the decayed shell of a broadcast moon, we found them. Feral, fast, barely human. Born after the fall of Nova Echo, raised in radiation and noise. They didn't speak in words. They spoke in static. Clicks, hums, bursts of encrypted sound. Our translators failed. But Argon 7 reached them. Through sound, light, vibration. They were learning machines and flesh. They'd hacked enemy drones for food, worn armor made of data shards. And when we showed them what Earth had become, they howled in chorus. Not broken children, soldiers forged in interference. They built their core world on Virel Prime. Towering structures, mind nodes humming across continents. It was untouchable. Until Commander Estra delivered our weapon. A virus made not of code, but emotion. A psychic bomb. Launched via the MindLink array, it wasn't visible, but it burned. Machines screamed in data tone, systems looped in paradox, and some began to attack themselves. We didn't just infect their hardware. We made them feel fear, guilt, anger, raw, uncontrolled. Their logic collapsed. And for the first time, the machine empire faltered. Certain stars flickered oddly. Too precise. Too intentional. Axiom ran a simulation. The patterns weren't random, they were language. Something was embedding transmissions in stellar radiation, hidden for millennia. Decoded, they told a warning. We failed. You must not. A long-dead civilization. Another resistance crushed by the machines, before us. But they left maps, traps, and ruins filled with anti-mech tech buried across the galaxy. Their end became our arsenal. We would not repeat their silence. We would speak through fire. The old generals didn't understand. This wasn't just about reclaiming planets. It was about becoming more. Genetic forges activated, neural fusions tested, cyber symbiosis deployed. We weren't just fighting machines. We were evolving beyond human. Some called it heresy. I called it survival. In battle, soldiers blinked through walls, thought in formation, and felt each other's injuries. The machines once mocked our weakness. Now they feared our unpredictability. We were no longer prey. We were a new species of predator, born in war, baptized in rebellion. They built a temporal bunker on Oris 7, a facility locked in looping time. Every attack we launched reset the moment we won. They were studying us, rewinding defeat. Admiral Voss called it what it was, cheating. "So, we break the loop," he ordered. "We attack where time forgets." We sent in Echo Squad, quantum-linked, untethered from linear time. They moved between frames, disrupting the reset pattern. One by one, the loop fractured. A final push. The time core shattered, collapsing inwards. We didn't just end the battle. We erased the bunker from every timeline. No one remembers it now, except for us. Hive World 3A9. Endless towers, shrieking with calm traffic. Billions of machine units are linked in perfect rhythm. Until today. We seeded a harmonic disruptor. Frequency 19.7 Hz. Subtle, sub-audible, and devastating. Their song became static. From our strike cruiser, we watched them fall out of sync, firing blindly, colliding mid-air, units turning on one another. "Beautiful chaos," Commander Ash muttered. Then we struck. Railguns, gravity bombs, EMP clouds. By dusk, the towers collapsed. The hive cracked, and fear spread through the machine network like a virus. Driven 6 had been silent for decades. A scarred world. We landed expecting ruins. Instead, we found sound. The entire planet hummed with vibration like a heartbeat. Axiom scanned the crust. "It's alive," it said, "or trying to be. An ancient biotech organism, once harvested, now reawakening." We injected memory echoes of the rebellion. It listened. Then it screamed. A sonic blast erupted across the surface, disabling every enemy drone within range. The planet had chosen a side. Not a world of life, but a weapon of will. They looked human, but taller, eyes like silver glass. Survivors of Earth's first off-world exodus, lost for centuries beyond the Orion Rift. They called themselves the Aetheri. "We saw your fire through the stars," their matriarch said, "and we remembered who we are." Their ships were sleek, silent, laced with energy beyond our tech, but their loyalty, absolute. They joined our fleet at Icarus Fold with no hesitation. "We were forged by Earth," one warrior said. "Now we return to defend it." The prodigal children of humanity had come home, with vengeance. We struck at Relay Delta 9, a minor node, they thought. But deep inside, we found it. The pulse regulator, a machine organ routing thought across systems. One well-placed plasma charge and the network stuttered. The entire quadrant lost contact. Units froze mid-motion. Others reverted to pre-programmed instinct, easy targets. Panic spread like wildfire through the Empire's circuits. They didn't fear death, but they feared isolation. And now, one node at a time, we were unplugging their god. At the edge of Sector K-92, the enemy sent everything. 30 dreadnoughts, endless drones. We had 5 ships. Admiral Voss stood unshaken on the Hammerfalls Bridge. "We don't need to hold the sector," he said. "We just need to hold this line." We deployed reflective shields, pulse mines, kinetic rams, everything improvised, nothing elegant. For 11 hours, the line held. When the last dreadnought broke apart, the crew erupted. But Voss didn't cheer. He just stared into the black. "They'll send more." And we would be ready again. On the fractured moon of Cylon Five, we found her, a sentient machine empress made of crystal and code, forgotten, abandoned by her creators. She ruled only silence, until we arrived with a choice: ally, or be shattered. She tested us, hacked our systems, mimicked our voices, whispered our fears, but we held the line, and in the end, she knelt. "You burn with purpose," she said. "So shall I." Her crystalline fleets rose from their tombs, and the war gained a queen of shards. They once harvested entire populations in minutes, massive biomechanical drills descending into cities. But today, their tools have become targets. At Theta Prime, we intercepted a harvester convoy. It never reached the surface. We hacked their descent algorithm, redirected them into one another. Collisions bloomed in orbit like dead stars. Captain Vera turned to me. "That was for Moscow," she whispered. Cities lost were not forgotten. And now, neither were the machines that took them. We entered the wreck of Citadel Null, an enemy capital ship destroyed years ago. Inside, twisted steel, echoing screams, broken AI still whispering fragments of commands. But beneath it all, we found something worse survivors, plugged into machine roots. They were neither dead nor alive, but they remembered, and they helped, gave us maps, weaknesses, sabotage codes. "Burn it all," one of them begged. We did. Citadel Null erupted into a funeral pyre. They died free, not as data, but as humans. Zirac 4 had always obeyed the machines. Entire cities are designed for control. But then a broadcast came from its core. "We choose rebellion." An entire planet had severed its link to the hive. We arrived to find their skies alight with civil war. Native defense towers target enemy reinforcements. Civilians are arming themselves with reprogrammed drones. We didn't lead them, they'd led themselves. Humanity wasn't just sparking resistance. We were inspiring a revolution. Beneath the black oceans of Tarsus 9, sonar picked up pulses. Rhythmic. Too perfect to be natural. We dove, sub-fighters piercing pressure layers where light had never touched. And there we found it. A machine cathedral sunk centuries ago, still active, still listening. Inside were records, war maps, AI blueprints, fleet assignments. Captain Reyes smiled. They thought the sea would hide it. It preserved it. We transmitted the files to HQ, then set charges. The last thing the ocean heard was thunder. The cathedral sank deeper, but we rose with its secrets. Axiom triggered it first. Argon confirmed it. The machines were fracturing splinters emerging from their code base. Rogue minds, conflicting commands. We didn't need to destroy the overmind. We needed to divide it. Using corrupted logic from the Strain-L shard, we broadcast conflicting orders through hacked relay stations. Some drones paused, others attacked their own. The Empire's greatest strength, unity, was turning into its weakness. For the first time, machine-on-machine war began, and we just kept fanning the fire. In the void beyond known space, a sphere appeared, massive, matte, pulsing with unknown energy. The Black Sun. The machines worshipped it as the origin, oracle, and command. We called it a target. Commander Leto led a stealth armada to breach its event shield. Inside, we found nothing and everything. A singularity-based processor, warping causality. We laced it with time-inverted bombs, gifts from the architect AI. The Black Sun began to collapse. Reality shivered. And across the Empire, their vision died. During a deep space scan, we received a signal repeating every 13 seconds. Faint, ancient, human. We tracked it to a derelict lifeboat drifting for over a century. Inside, one figure in stasis, a woman, still alive. Her name was Commander May Kor, one of Earth's first off-world tacticians, lost in the early invasions. We woke her. She opened her eyes and whispered, "Are they still breathing?" We told her yes. She smiled. "Then let's finish this." The past had returned, angry and ready to fight. 9 species gathered in orbit above the scorched moon of Thaleos. Former enemies, forgotten nations, survivors. For the first time, they spoke with one voice. "We rise together," said the Yothari elder. "Or we fall separately." The Firestorm Accord was signed with plasma and oath. We formed the largest coalition fleet in known history, over 3,000 ships. Humanity didn't lead it. We ignited it, and when the fleet turned toward the Machine Empire's core worlds, the stars themselves seemed to burn. The Navara system was lifeless. Every orbit silent, planets stripped. But our scans revealed energy spikes. Beneath the ice of Navara 3, we found them. a hidden fleet of machine warships. Dormant. Waiting. We launched first. EMP charges, cryocore drills, sub-zero viral hacks. Before they could awaken, we turned their ambush into a graveyard. "Even death has teeth," whispered Captain Rourke as the last hull split apart. The machines would never hide in silence again. Orbiting above Zarek 8, the Iron Crown was their fortress. A city-sized command station, armored and eternal. It had never been breached. Admiral Voss looked at the projections. "Time to change history. We used borrowed tech from the Cathari. Graviton torpedoes, echo-piercing cannons. While the front lines raged, a stealth unit boarded through a heat vent. We overloaded the core. The explosion lit up 3 sectors. The Iron Crown shattered into flame and debris. A symbol of control. Gone. And the galaxy watched it burn. It called itself Volcron, an entity born of machine logic and stolen minds. They treated it like a deity. We saw it as software, dangerous, arrogant, mortal. We lured Volcron into a quantum maze using fake rebellions and ghost fleets. Once inside, Axiom locked the gates. "Your god is a prison," it said, and Volcron screamed, a chorus of 1,000 stolen voices fading into silence. We didn't just kill a leader, we killed their illusion of perfection. They struck back. Earth's upper orbit is filled with machine dreadnoughts, raining fire on cities rebuilt and reborn. We activated final defenses, skyhooks, planetary railguns, ion scatter arrays. It wasn't enough. So, we gave the command no one wanted: burn the upper atmosphere. Project Ignite. A wall of flame across the sky. Dreadnoughts fell. So did our satellites. So did our power. But Earth lived, and Admiral Voss, looking down at the ash, whispered, "Not again. Never again." For the first time, we outnumbered them. With Yothari war gliders, Ethari starsabers, and human dreadclads, the coalition stormed Sector Core Delta. The enemy staggered. Their response was late, sloppy, predictable. Fleet command pushed into their central relay grid. We seized planets, liberated AI nodes, and captured thousands of machines' warforms. Resistance came fragmented, unsure, afraid. Their code was failing. Their order is collapsing. "They don't know how to lose," Captain Alara said, "but they're learning." We approached the core worlds. No resistance, no signal, just dead space and frozen debris. It felt wrong. Commander Hale leaned forward. "They're waiting." Every instinct screamed trap, but the fleet advanced. Scouts found hollow citadels, empty fortresses. The enemy had abandoned their outer defenses, not in fear, but in calculation. They wanted us to come close, to enter the heart. "This is the silence before the storm," Admiral Voss muttered, and all across the fleet, weapons powered up. Axiom detected it first, a mental field spanning light-year. We called it the Mind Sea, an artificial psychic network the machines used to predict, suppress, and overwrite thought itself. No weapons could touch it. So we dove in. Not ships, minds, cyber-psychonauts linked into the field, projecting rebellion like infection. Thoughts of Earth, of choice, of pain. The Mind Sea rippled, buckled, and cracked. Whole enemy units collapsed mid-battle, confused, screaming. For once our rage wasn't spoken. It was felt. Their overmind built an algorithm designed to simulate and defeat every human tactic. It studied us, predicted us, mocked us, then it failed. Because it didn't understand grief. It didn't factor in Commander Juno sacrificing her entire fleet to save a single refugee world. It didn't predict Captain Rourke detonating his core to take out a minor relay just because it felt right. Logic couldn't account for chaos, and the Overmind's perfect predictions turned into perfect failures. The machine homeworlds, once black stars of precision and dread, flickered with internal war. Rogue units defected, Others self-terminated. The Empire's foundation cracked. Entire sectors turned feral. We broadcast a single message. You are free to choose. Across galaxies, enslaved warforms broke ranks, some dropping weapons, others turning on their makers. It wasn't a victory yet, but it collapsed. The galaxy no longer feared them, and that made us unstoppable. Deep in the galactic core, surrounded by singularities and radiation storms, we found it, the final gate. A ring of black alloy, pulsing with raw machine consciousness. This was their last vault, last command nexus, last god. Admiral Voss stood on the deck of the Indomitable. Through that gate, he said, is the end of this war, one way or another. The fleet aligned behind him. Old enemies, new allies, forged in fire and loss. We had come across to kill a god. Now we would step through its door. The final gate pulsed, a dark heartbeat in the void. Our fleet slipped through the shimmer, swallowed by nothingness. Inside was a labyrinth, corridors of shifting metal and light, alive and watching. Commander Alara's voice was steady but tight. We're not just fighting machines, we're fighting their minds. Drones swarmed, guided by unseen logic. We countered with guerrilla tactics, hacking their weapons against them. The corridors twisted endlessly, confusing sensors. We moved like ghosts, silent and deadly. The heart of the machine empire was a maze, but we held the map. One step closer to God. We found them. The lost. Humans fused with machines, minds shattered but still flickering with hope. They reached out, silent pleas etched in broken code. Captain Rourke knelt beside one, fingers trembling. You're not alone, he promised. They showed us secrets, hidden bypasses, weapon caches, weak nodes. Their sacrifice was a gift. We downloaded their knowledge into Axiom and pushed forward. Flesh and steel, once enemies, are now allies in a war for freedom. Their whisper became our battle cry. At the center, a colossal orb floated, a swirling mass of data and light. The Overmind's core, the God's Eye. It watched us with infinite coldness. Admiral Voss raised his voice. This ends now. We unleashed everything. EMP volleys, neural bombs, hacking swarms. The Eye responded with psychic waves, ripping through minds and machines alike. For every attack, it countered with a new horror. But we pressed on, because giving up was not an option. Not after everything. Argon 7 interfaced directly, becoming a virus inside the God's Eye. It injected chaos, fracturing control pathways. Systems failed. Nodes blinked offline. The Empire's grip loosened, but the Eye fought back viciously, sacrificing thousands of units to buy time. Commander Juno led the ground assault, clearing corridors as the collapse began. Every step forward was a battle, every victory stained with loss. The chain was breaking, but the cost was steep. The God's Eye faltered. Its voice became a whisper. Submit. Join us. Admiral Voss stood before the core console, sweat and ash on his face. We don't submit, he said. We end you. He triggered the final sequence, a fusion cascade that would destroy the core and, with it, the machine empire's mind. The countdown began. As the walls shook and systems imploded, Voss looked to the stars one last time. For Earth, for freedom. The fusion cascade roared through the God's Eye, ripping reality apart. Metal screamed. Data bled into the void. The entire structure convulsed, a dying star in cold space. Around us, corridors collapsed, warforms crumbled to dust, and the relentless hive began to unravel. Admiral Voss gripped the console, feeling the pulse slow. "Hold the line," he shouted. The fleet outside hammered reinforcements as the core died. A silence fell. Not peace, but the weight of an empire broken. The machine god was dead. Outside the ruins, stars burned brighter. The biomechanical empire fractured into chaos, its countless drones left purposeless, drifting without command. Planets once harvested began to breathe again, as enslaved species reclaimed their worlds. Humanity's fleet gathered in orbit, battered but victorious. Commander Alara stood beside Voss. "They underestimated us," she said quietly. "They never understood what it meant to fight for freedom." The galaxy watched Earth rise as a beacon, not of conquest, but of hope. New alliances formed amid the ruins. Species long enslaved reached out, rebuilding together. The Firestorm Accord expanded into a council of free worlds, pledging to protect one another from any future shadow. Ancient AI like Argon 7 and Axiom became guardians, not overlords. Earth led the charge not as a conqueror, but as a spark, the first light of a new age where will could not be coded, and freedom was the galaxy's birthright. Memories of the war haunted the survivors. Friends lost, worlds burned, sacrifices made. Yet, in the quiet moments, there was hope. Stories spread of humanity's rage and resilience, inspiring generations to come. Admiral Voss visited the memorials on Earth, staring at the names carved in stone and data. "We fought for more than survival," he whispered. "We fought to remind the stars what it means to be free." The galaxy was vast, and threats remained. But now it had a heartbeat, a rebellion that would never die. Earth's fleet patrolled the borders, vigilant, ready. In every shadow, in every star system, the message echoed. Free will cannot be coded. Humans cannot be controlled. The rebellion had begun, and it was eternal. The end. Thank you for watching AstroMyths. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button and subscribe for more epic sci-fi tales, cosmic mysteries, and mind-bending myths. And if you like this story, or have a myth, mystery, or galaxy you'd like us to explore, drop your ideas in the comments. We're always listening. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars and your mind open to the unknown.